وانتوا بتتفرجوا على من الآخر. في أماكن لما بنزورها حياتنا ما بترجعش زي قبل ما زرناها، أماكن قلوبنا بتتعلق بيها وبيبقى دايما عندنا حنين ليها، لدرجة ممكن تخلي شخص ما إن هو يسيب وطنه خالص ويقرر يعيش في المكان الجديد اللي هو لقى فيه نفسه أو حس ناحيته بحنين غريب أو انتماء مش عارف مصدره إيه. النهاردة هنتكلم عن رواية أجمل فتاة في جنوة. إيه أجمل فتاة في جنوة وإيه حكايتها؟ دي رواية اللي احنا هنتكلم عنها النهاردة. الرواية دي بتحكي قصة كاتب هولندي راح زار مدينة جنوة في إيطاليا وبعدين وقع في غرامها، ومن ساعتها وهو قرر يكمل حياته هناك في جنوة. قاعد في جنوة من 2008 لغاية دلوقتي، داخل اهو في 12 سنة. كتب عنها الكتاب ده وكتاب تاني كمان ألفه على جنوة. الكتاب اللي معانا هو أدب رحلات، يميل شوية لشكل الرواية لأنه هو مليان قصص وحكايات لناس وشخصيات مختلفة. الناس اللي بيحبوا أدب الرحلات أعتقد أن الكتاب ده يبقى لطيف بالنسبة لهم. كاتب الرواية هو ليونارد فايفر. زي ما قلنا هو كاتب هولندي، ليه أكتر من عمل منشور بالهولندية، وده العمل اللي مترجم ليه بالعربية. احنا النهاردة في دار العربي وبنناقش الترجمة العربية بتاعت الرواية بتاعته اللي هي أجمل فتاة في جنوة. هو كمان شاعر وليه مجموعات شعرية متنوعة، وليه عمل أو آخر أعماله الصادرة كان في 2018 اللي هو فندق أوروبا. النهاردة احنا هنعمل معاه مقابلة مش للأسف وجها لوجه، ولكن هتكون عن طريق برنامج زوم. هنسأله فيها عن الرواية أسئلة كتير جت في دماغي وأنا بقرأ الرواية، حاجات استغربتها، حاجات عجبتني، حاجات ما عجبتنيش. ده اللي هتشوفوه دلوقتي في المقابلة اللي هنعملها مع الكاتب. I would like to know firstly when you decided to visit Genoa, and how long have you been living there, and I would like to know more about your relationship with Genoa.
Yes, well, I came here in the summer of 2008, so that is now 12 years ago.
Okay.
And it was never planned that I would move to Genoa, that I would go and live here. I visited Genoa on a journey, on a holiday trip. And when I came here in this city, by the lack of a better word, I fell in love with this city. So I decided that maybe it would be a good idea to stay here for a while. I thought perhaps a month or 2 months, just to have some inspiration. So I went to look for a little apartment, rented something for 2 months, and then I prolonged that, and this little while now has been 12 years.
Wow, it's a long time.
And I'm still enjoying it. I'm still excited by this city. I'm still in love with the city.
Yeah, I can see from your book. Okay, so what exactly the moment you decide that Genoa would be the topic of your next book?
Well, as soon as I arrived here, I started to write about it. I started to write little observations, things I noticed in the streets. Well, it would be strange not to write about a city that has such a big impact on you, doesn't it? So I started to collect material, but it took some while for me to understand what kind of book the city wanted from me. So it took me some while to realize what the story would have to be that I wanted to set in this city. So in the end, in Holland, La Superba came out in 2013. So it took me 5 years to go from my first impressions to a more elaborate story that then became the book.
There's many stories through your book about different people from different nationalities, different backgrounds, and from everywhere. to what extent these stories are real?
Well, most stories are invented, but that doesn't mean that they are not real.
Yeah.
Often in fiction, you can be more precise about reality than in journalism.
Yeah.
So, well, most of the characters in the book are fictional characters, even if they are perhaps based on one person or also several persons I really met, but always with a huge fictional component. The only exception is for the two intermezzos. There is the intermezzo about the Englishman, about Don. He is a real person. He was a real person. He passed away a couple of years ago. And I decided to portray him as he was. I even used his real name.
You made a comparison between the Italian way of living and the Dutch one. In your opinion, what is the main differences between the Italian and the Dutch way of writing, our style of writing?
Oh, the difference are huge. Actually, I discover more and more how big the differences are. In the beginning, when I came to Genoa, I didn't realize that. I thought, well, it's not so far away. No, from Holland to Italy is 1,200 kilometers. You're still in Europe. No, I thought it must be very similar. But then the more I'm here, the more I realize that there is a huge difference in culture. And it's actually very interesting. I enjoy discovering more and more differences, cultural differences between my native country and the country where I live. And I learn a lot from it. And yeah, there are huge differences in mentality. But perhaps one thing I can tell you is that Holland is a very well-organized country.
Yeah.
It's a country that works. It's a country where everything works as it is supposed to do. Italy is quite the opposite. Italy is a country where nothing works and you have to improvise everything. Perhaps Italy is a bit more similar to Egypt, I imagine, in this respect.
This is what I was going to say. You described through your book how it's different to be Dutch and live in Italy. However, I told myself, how about if he came to the Middle East or even to Egypt, how it will be like so shocking for him, because everything you spoke about Italy for me was a little bit like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I can understand this. Did you travel before to any of the Middle East countries?
I've never been to the Middle East. No.
Okay.
I've been I'm still looking forward to visit Egypt, especially Egypt. Perhaps once when this this pandemic is over, we can find an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But one thing is, I also realized another thing now, that one thing is visiting countries. I visited many countries around the Mediterranean, and visiting is one thing, but another thing is really go there and live there.
Yeah.
And trying to adapt, trying to integrate in the life of the new country. That is really a different experience.
I was like surprised about you describe Netherlands as there is no problem in your country. So how come? How come a country with no problem? I cannot get this.
Well, everything is organized. There's no spontaneity. It works. Yeah, and it's quite boring to be honest. And you know what the strange thing is that the people are not happier. People that live in a country without problems are not happy people. For instance, a very stupid example to make you understand this is the trains. The trains in Holland are very punctual. They're always on time. So if the train has 1 minute of delay, it's announced and it is like a problem. No, 1 minute of delay is something that shouldn't happen. This means that when the train has half a minute of delay, people are already getting angry, are already getting irritated, because it's not really like... In Italy, trains can have 2 hours of delay, no? So people don't get excited.
Yeah.
Perhaps the first hour or the first 1.5 hours, they simply accept the life. So in a country where everything is perfectly organized, people are also expecting too much every time, and that makes them less happy.
Okay. Back to the illegal immigration, I would
Yes.
ask you, how do you see the illegal immigrants have the legitimacy to stay in Europe? And do you think that European society should support immigrants to come and to have a better life through their societies or not?
Yes, I do. Almost all the European countries see immigration as a problem. And it's also a problem that is very difficult to solve. I think the solution might be to see immigration not as a problem, but as a solution.
Yep.
I think actually that Europe needs immigrants. Europe is an old continent. People are very old. The demographics are not very favorable. No, it's getting older and older, the population. So it becomes very difficult to maintain all the social securities, the healthcare, and all this kind of thing without a young, helping, healthy working force. And I think we need immigrants. And then I think it's also the more pragmatic solution now, because all those Africans that come to Europe, especially from south of Sahara, they are really desperate. I mean, you cannot deny them the right to have a future. And they are willing to risk their own lives to come to Europe in order to construct a future. And if you see the amount of desperation, you also understand that they will never be stopped. They will always come. You can make all the strict rules that you can think of, but it won't help. So then perhaps it's more logical, more pragmatical, better policy to think about what we can do with these people. If they come, perhaps they can be very useful for our society. But then, of course, the society needs also to give something. You need to invest in these people. You need really to give them a chance to build a future by giving them schooling, by giving them decent housing to begin with, and this kind of thing.
يا رب تكون المقابلة عجبتكم وكانت ملهمة ليكم زي ما كانت ملهمة ليا من الحاجات اللي اتكلمنا فيها مع الكاتب والأفكار الجديدة اللي أول مرة أسمع عنها. لو حبيتوا الحلقة ما تنسوش تعملوا لايك وشير، وطبعا لو مش مشتركين تعملوا سبسكرايب، واكتبوا لنا تحت في التعليقات ايه رأيكم في الحلقة، ولو ناويين تقروا رواية ولا لأ، وايه روايات أدب أو ايه كتب وروايات أدب الرحلات اللي انتوا قريتوها قبل كده. ونشوفكم الحلقة الجاية. باي باي.